Uh, well, we're starting with this Cosmogoyf Necro deck that we built on Saturday in between rounds of the showcase. The idea is like I've kind of liked the general Sultai vibes with Cosmogoyf. Like it alongside Psychic Frog is really powerful. When you pair it with a lot of removal spells and interaction, having a giant creature is pretty valuable because it like one you can clear the way to kill your opponent with it. But two also like just the pressure ends up kind of acting like more interaction if that makes sense. Like I don't know, it feels very classic Tarmogoyf where it's just so big like it gets chump blocked a lot and it almost it's so big it controls the board sometimes. Although now to be that big it has to be like a 10-10 instead of like a 5-6 like it used to be. Um but what's cool about this list too is that beyond just Frog as an enabler, you have Necro as a really, really good enabler. Also, you have March and Soul Spike, Graveyard Trespasser, Cling to Dust as some ways to get some incidental exiling. But Necro plus Cosmogoyf goes really hard. Just every single card you discard and you get to draw a lot of cards goes to exile, which makes your Cosmogoyf huge. And what's kind of cool is that especially when you have Necro Sheoldred, you can just draw most of your deck, if not all of your deck, and then set up to go Cosmogoyf plus your singleton Rite of Consumption to sack your Cosmogoyf and gain life equal to the amount of damage dealt that way. You also sometimes can Rite of Consumption to Psychic Frog, since these two cards also play really well together. I think this is another cool overlap where when you have Frog into Necro, you get to draw a lot of cards, and instead of just getting no value off of the cards you have to discard, you can discard them to Frog instead. Make your Frog really big, and if your Frog is really big, maybe you can kill them with a Rite of Consumption. Cecil is also a card that I've really liked in Necro. We played a Necro Mox Amber Shell with Sorin that did kind of solidly last season. But what's cool also is like when you play Cecil and Frog and Cosmogoyf and Trespasser and Sheoldred, you have like a pretty aggressive, normal mid-range game plan that isn't like super all in on playing Necro. And I think that that's a pretty important dynamic too. I think on the draw we actually keep this. We have a Surveil and a Cling to Dust on the draw. Relic and Skimmer. So yeah, I thought about also playing Relic and Skimmer in this build. I think that having a creature that's base blue or like sorry doesn't have black in the casting cost rather that's a pretty big hurdle to climb over. I think. Um, can I discuss my split between Deluge, Fade, Ritual, and the board? Um, no, just kidding. It's a little bit weird. It's like in general, like having splits and having versatility is kind of good, so that your opponents don't just have the perfect ability to play around whatever it is you've got going on. Nice. Do I want to? I think I probably just want to push this turn, right? I'm pretty interested in like maybe next turn we get to go. Well, maybe I should march. Maybe I should march to make my Goyf really big because a Soul Spike by itself wouldn't let me save my Goyf from a Thraben Charm, which it seems like or sorry, a Galvanic Discharge, which it seems like my opponent has. But I guess I'm just gonna cast a Necro before a Goyf almost always this game, anyways. Or I could go if I draw a green source, I could go Goyf with maybe March Up and then use that to protect. Um. So yeah, it's good to have a little bit of a split. In theory, I'm kind of thinking that like the Deluge, the Ritual, these are a bit better against Boros. So then like Fade is just good against Affinity, and Ritual is a bit better against Affinity than the Deluges are. So just I think having a little bit of a split to hedge for both this matchup and the Affinity matchup is nice. Still like an early draft too, of course. So let's see if they have a Flage. If they have a Flage, they can't quite haste it with Arena with just a fetch land. No Flage is really nice. I like to see them discarding the Thraben Charm also. They could maybe, if they had a Flage, want to cast it though on the Cecil. Could see that being the case. All right, let's go ahead and Fatal Push the token. They've got 3 cards left in their hand. Need to find land number 3. Sooner rather than later would be nice. The Guide of Souls, and then the Johnny. I'm kind of interested in soul spiking this. I know the Graveyard Trespasser is really good against them, but I think I'm just really trying to rip the land for the Necro. And then the Cosmogoyf at that point is usually like the best card you could have. Maybe a March would be better though. We do rip the land. We don't have a green source. I think I'm going to draw 6 going down to 17, which is basically 14. Although I guess I also want to discard a couple more for the Goyfs. Maybe let's draw 7. Let's discard Watery Grave, Verge. Sorry, Watery Grave, Delta, not Verge. We want to keep 1 Delta. The Goyf will be 5 power next turn. They do flip the Fable. Hit me for 3 down to 13. They flip the Ajani with a red permanent in play. I might be a little cold to this. Let's see, so they're going to put me down to 9. If I fetch shock play Goyf, I'm down to 6. They have 1 card left in their hand. I think we are going to play Cosmogoyf, and we're going to play the Frog, and we're going to draw the full 5, trying to find Soul Spike and another black card to kill the Ajani. I don't really see like another good line. Seems like I got pretty punished for keeping the Goyf over the March. If I kept the March, I'd be feeling a lot happier here, probably. We do find the Soul Spike and the black card. The Goyf is right now 9 power. We also have Cling to Dust if we need more life potentially. We can grow this to 12 power at instant speed if that ends up being relevant. The whole time there's been a black fling. Yeah, it's sorcery speed though. Alright, so they copy a warrior token. And then they can put me to 1, which very notably is not 0. So if they sit with everything and they don't have a way to get some extra damage in, they are dead on the crackback, for whatever that's worth. They may not realize they're dead on the crackback. Cruel with the 32 months. Thank you. Welcome back. They have the Flage. Alright, so we're gonna bring in the Ritual. We're gonna bring in the Deluges and the Graveyard Trespassers. I do think this is a matchup where it's just so tough to have kind of dead draws. So I do think I want to cut the Rite of Consumption. Might be interested in cutting the Cecils. I do like having good 1-mana spells. Let me just cut the Thoughtseizes. Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't think there's really too many sideboard cards we're that worried about besides maybe Blood Moon. But if we can get 2 swamps in play, you can play through Moon kind of well. I mean, obviously it cuts off all of our gold cards. We only have 9 of them. Can pitch them to Soul Spike in March maybe. But yeah, if we can just get like Trespasser and Sheoldred online, sometimes you can win through those. Would like just 2 spears be good in this deck for the lifelink for Goyf, make you less weak to burn Boros. Okay, being weak to burn is not something you should be thinking about in Modern right now. Also, our burn I think is a good matchup. We have a ton of life gain in the deck. But like Shadow Spear is not a playable card unless you have Urza Saga in your deck. It's not a strong card. It just like it happens to play really well when you're putting big creatures into play, and Urza Saga does that and puts the Shadow Spear into play. It's really like almost never, if just not never, a card you should consider YOLOing in your deck. Just to get some life, I think. At least that's my thoughts on Shadow Spear usually. I think I've never played it that way. I think I'm gonna go Overgrown Tomb on turn 1. I can play the Untapped Verge on turn 2, maybe. I definitely want to play a Frog before the Cecil. Kind of tough for them to kill the Frog. I think we will get in. It's a little bit awkward that we don't have 1 more fetch land right now to be able to flip the Cecil next turn, but I think that'll be okay. So if they just attack with the Pride, and they do have Static Prison. Don't think we're supposed to discard 2 cards to grow the Goyf. Oh, the Cosmogoyf does grow from the Static Prison. That's kind of fun. Oh, and then we took 1 from the Pride. So now we get to shock in the Watery Grave. Connect with Cecil, flip the Cecil. They also missed their land drop, notably. And exile our own Delta here. So Static Prison goes down to 1 energy in the pool. They don't have a Galvanic Discharge or a Pride in their hand at the moment, or the last turn. They didn't have another land, now they do. Obviously don't love that. Although Bombardment and just Bombardment isn't the worst. Chat was right about Culling Ritual. I think, yeah, I do think we attack first. Get that 4 life in there. Wasn't I on the play? I was on the play. I don't know if I said I was on the draw. I misspoke. Oh, I guess they do just get to block and sack. Not that really changes our line at all. Culling Ritual. They're gonna sack the Pride, and then we're gonna make 3 mana and then cast a Goyf with the ability to grow the Goyf with the Frog. I am down to only 8. I'd have to discard my Soul Spike to grow the Frog. I should grow the Goyf with Frog. They were on the draw. Oh, sorry. That's what I thought they missed a land drop, but you're right. I was wrong about that. Okay, so they showdown, which is very interesting on this board because we have a lot of power and toughness in play. They hit 2 prides and 2 lands. It's kind of wild for the showdown to be this bad, honestly. So if I discard both of these cards, and I mean, which I think I'm just dealing max damage. Not like either of these cards do anything. So I exile the non-Cecil cards so that the Graveyard Trespasser can exile the Cecil, which this looks pretty lethal to me. They're at 10, and then we have 11 damage? 10 after the Trespasser. Cool. Well, that worked out pretty well. I think on the draw, I might bring in the Force of Despair. I think I'd like to. Let's cut a Cecil on the draw. How about Shadow Spear if you're running New Tez but not Urza Saga? Okay, well, if you're playing New Tezzeret in your deck and you're not playing Urza Saga, you probably need to rethink your deck building decisions. But if somehow there's a reason to do that, then maybe. But I'm like trying to think about how you could possibly want to build a Tezzeret deck without Urza Saga, because they both care about the same cards. And they're both Mox Opal decks every time. They'd have a Pride, you could have exiled 2, not that it mattered. Well, it's better to exile from our own graveyard to grow the Goyf, which is why I did it this way. Title says Necrogoyf, not Cosmogoyf. Well, we're playing Necrogoyf. I guess should the title be Necro-Cosmogoyf? Necro-Cosmogoyf. Okay, Graveyard of Cecil, draw a Cecil. Cosmodominance. It's pretty good. I think I'm playing Bant in the last chance. I really liked the deck yesterday. Alright, Sultai Cosmodominance. Last chance starts at 1 p.m., so a little less than 4 hours. It'll be a longer stream today. Well, we were worried about this. All in. I have lethal next turn. There should be some changes on the Bant list. Yeah, we're supposed to have second Temple Garden. I think all I did was change the second Temple Garden from the last build we had. I mean, I did really like it. Let me make sure that that's what I have on my Magic Online deck list. I was swayed that even though I was resistant at first, I do thinking about it some more. I do think the second Temple Garden is better than the second Breeding Pool. That is what we have here. I'll change that in the box field. Okay, so they do get to gain some life here. So I no longer have lethal, but we get to smack them again. If I draw a black card, I think I'm unlikely to discard it to the frog because I want to be able to top deck a Soul Spike to win if they do top deck Static Prison, which they clearly don't have. So let's discard just Watery Grave and then connect here. Okay, so now even if they top deck Static Prison, Soul Spike is lethal. Good draw, good draw, good draw. Come on, Soul Spike. 1 in 11 chance. Ooh, okay. I mean, we'll take that too. Come on, dude. Wow. Brutal Flage. Okay, come on, Graveyard Trespasser. Brutal top deck. They hit a Celestial Purge, a Ragavan, and 2 lands. So the Ragavan unlocks the Flages from the yard. We could maybe draw exactly Graveyard Trespasser this turn. Okay, actually, Fatal Push is... if they don't have a lot more than this, that's kind of fine. So down to 7. Their hand might be all removal spells and lands. No, they've got a Pride. Alright, I'm gonna concede. Tough game. Them top decking the Purge was tough. Obviously the Moon was bad, but I they definitely didn't have the Purge the first time we hit them with the big frog. What card has appeared in the most modern sideboards throughout the format? I mean, there was a long time where like just having Stony Silence and Rest in Peace was like such a huge deal. Although that was a long time ago. Okay, they get a tapped Stomping Ground. It's very weird to see no Surveil. They choose Eldrazi off Cavern. What do you think about Reanimator winning the showcase? I think it makes a lot of sense. You're playing against Hardened Scales with an Ugin. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think last week especially, people were skimping pretty hard on Graveyard Hate in favor of Artifact Hate for the newly popular Affinity builds. They took a Blade. I don't think I can really ever not play Necro next turn, so I don't think I want to keep the Thoughtseize. They reveal a Chrysalis, a Grove, and a Brood Scale. They do take a Grove, which means they probably already have a Brood Scale in their hand. Or maybe they just were missing a land. They play the Blade. We're going to tap out for the Necro, so cards are kind of no issue here. Juliet with the 33 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Just came from a game placements bro. Nice. Great. Congrats. I'm having a good morning for sure. Glad you are too. Yeah, I think that we are going to be not attacking with the Cecil. I think I'm going to draw 13. Lucky 13. Okay. Let's soul spike them once here. Pitch a Necro and a Cecil. Save the other Necro for them. Or sorry, the other soul spike for them. The cards I'm going to want to keep, I think, are definitely Sheoldred, definitely Soul Spike, definitely one push, definitely one Cosmogoyf. So, Sheoldred, push, Goyf, Soul Spike. Maybe March is better than push. It probably is. So they question, would Punishing Fire be good in Modern? I don't think it would be very good. I think it would be a tiny bit playable. A lot of players, when we've talked about Punishing Fire, have seem to have the impression that Punishing Fire is like really unfun, which which is kind of different from my impression of the card. I really like Punishing Fire, but interesting to have that kind of flipped opinion. All right, so they get ready to rumble. They find their Vexing Bauble. It's pretty gross. Instead, they choose Eldrazi Temple, which is pretty great. And then they pass the turn, presumably with a K command available. So if I flip the Cecil, I can only draw 6. I think that's okay. I would simply adore a Price of Progress over Punishing Fire any day of the week. Well, we can Agenda Post, that's fine. But I think Price of Progress is like that. It's on my list of like incredibly unfun legacy cards that I don't really know why people suggest. Like Price of Progress, Hymn to Turok, Wasteland, or like maybe the main 3 cards that like they're just very Rashad and Port 2. Like they just are not very fun cards. They are cards that suck up fun in a way that is in a way that I do not think is good for games of Magic the Gathering. Cheesy is maybe the right word. Okay, so there's our Rite of Consumption, which means we can cheese them with the Cosmogoyf next turn, should my opponent not Emrakul me. I kind of feel like I'm getting Emrakuled, though. Don't really need the second Goyf. Forgot to cast Soul Spike? No, I know that my opponent has a... Or sorry, I don't know. I think it's likely they have a Brood Scale in their hand because they didn't choose one off the Rumble, so I'm trying to not lose to their combo here. So thankfully they're going for it. We're going to go ahead and Soul Spike in response to the equip. We're going to pitch these 2, and then next turn I could just go Cosmogoyf Rite of Consumption, which is very cool. I'm really excited to do this. I'm so excited. It's 22 damage right now. Rite of Consumption yourself doesn't kill me. I guess not. I guess you would gain the life. I don't know. So I guess that is relevant because of Emrakul, huh? That is relevant because of Emrakul. Not that I think they can cast Emrakul as a follow-up. Yeah, just a 1/1 Ballista. Are we just dead to Emrakul? No, you gain life also. I mean, I don't know what you want me to do against Emrakul in this spot too, but I could have also pitched I could have pitched like bad cards from my hand with the Soul Spike is I guess what we could have done. This is really fun though. I do not think my opponent expected to be dead right now. They just kill Sheoldred and Necro me to death. Oh, right. Yeah, Necro. Obviously, sorry. Obviously, you always lose to Emrakul with Necro in play. Of course. Okay, well, that was nice. Let's bring in the Consigns. Let's bring in the Culling Ritual. Let's bring in the Fade from History. Let's bring in the Nature's Claims. I don't know if I want to bring in a Deluge or not, but it's a lot of cards. That felt really good. I do think I'm going to keep in the Rite of Consumption. Let me cut the Cling to Dust. I think I'm going to cut the Cecils. They didn't seem very good that game. Could maybe cut a Soul Spike. Cut a March. Cut a Sheoldred. Have I tried straight black green version? No, but I think I don't know why you would not choose to not play Psychic Frog in your Cosmogoyf deck if it's like it's so easy to splash. Like once you're dedicated to not playing the MDFCs and just having like a kind of smooth fetch surveil land shockland mana base. Like Frog is very good with Necro, it's very good with the interactive spells, and it's very good with Cosmogoyf. I don't think that there's a very good argument for not playing Psychic Frog here. Besides, people are just so horny to play black green all the time, you know. Like I've built so many good like mono black decks. Sometimes we have good Sultai decks. Sometimes we have good Rakdos decks. And every time I play one of these decks, people are like, "Spike, I love this. It's the exact archetype I want to play, but it's not black green." So I'm not gonna. I'm gonna be sad that it's not a black green deck. I don't really love untapped Overgrown Tomb here. It's just like such a telegraph fatal push. Not that I expect you to do things. Just Emrakul is always bad, but always lethal. Emrakul seems to be death blow a lot of times in the deck. Well, I mean, if you have Necro in play, it literally is always a loss, though. A thief. So probably we'll just soul spike the thief. I'm gonna get Veil of Summered. Better not. I mean, the March is a pretty good card, but I'm also just going to be drawing a lot of cards, so I think I'll discard here. Let's draw. So I want to discard 16 cards, and then have 5 cards left over. So I need to have a total of 21 cards, which means I need to draw 19 going down to 3. I guess discarding the Culling Ritual might have been better because it would have let me fly the frog last turn. Oh, and then I guess if I mean I can still discard more cards, but I don't need to discard as many because I soul spec them. Sorry. Sometimes I think stuff like that outside in my head, and then I forget it when I start to take the game actions. I don't know if that makes any sense. Okay, I don't think we're gonna Culling Ritual. Yeah, I think it would have just been better to have discarded it. I guess do this. Just one of each. Thoughts on Fate from History? I like the card. I think it's extra cool in this deck because sometimes just killing your own Necro is good. I think that's kind of a cool extra angle. All right, good looking hand. Let's keep. I probably want to lead on Overgrown Tomb. This way I can either have a more painful hand for Cecil intentionally or a less painful hand by playing the Watery Grave tapped. I did go down 1 Verge from the last time we played this build. On the draw against Belcher, Belcher's been pretty popular. I like Cecil. It's like Cecil, so it's good that you have this kind of game plan where you just have a lot of cheap aggressive creatures. That makes your soul spikes better too. Also, like Cecil flips into a big life linker pretty quick. It's good to be gaining a lot of life in your Necro deck. So I think it's a very strong card in the archetype. I think I'm gonna play the Watery Grave so that I could flip the Cecil next turn easier. Warning Spike, want to say thanks for the Expedition 33 recommendation. Easily best video game I've played in the last 10 years. Yeah, it's one of my favorite games, if not just my favorite game. Period. It certainly near the very top of my list. Just such a great game. Esther's playing through Cyberpunk right now, but once she's done with that, we're gonna I think do Expedition 33 New Game Plus. Yeah, I think I have to give it to E33 over Dark Souls, despite me, of course, really loving that game. Yeah, this is not, also I when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, I remember thinking we're not going to see an RPG that's as good as this maybe ever, at least not for years. And then E30, I think E33 is better than Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is also like a very buggy game. Uh, it was also like not finished at release. There's like a lot of problems with that game that people don't talk about because it's just so good. But I don't know. I kind of have to take some points off that like when on on release it was really unfinished. It was just so long that like they were like hurrying to finish it before people got to the end. All right, can I kill them with the Goyf? So if I kill their only blocker, this is a little bit weird because if I'm pitching cards from my hand, then I'm not able to use those for Frog. It's also weird that if I need to march like Tamashi end of turn, I can't Soul Spike. I guess I would just pitch the Soul Spike, and then I would go Frog, discard the 2 cards in my hand, and then I think I could only exile 3 cards, right? Because I'd have the March, the Mortuary, whatever I draw for turn. Then the Frog would only be 4/5. So yeah, let's play the Frog instead. I don't think that we have a Goyf lethal next turn. Maybe if I drew push. That's true. It does have some terrible platforming. That is true. I think I would disagree that its systems break down in the last act. I would really disagree with that, but I think that's fine to disagree on. The ban deck. It looked really good. We forward won both of our leagues. All of our losses were to like mana screw. I felt pretty good about it. All right, down a game against Belcher. Gonna bring in the Consigns. Gonna bring in the Nature's Claims. Not gonna bring in Ashiok for just Whir. Ling is good. Right could be good to just cheese them. Probably 1 less Sheoldred. Maybe 1 less push. A lot of Belcher lately. It's interesting to see it pick back up. In our Bance build that we're playing in the Last Chance, we've got some Force of Negations and Phantoms. We did win when we played it without those cards, but it did seem like the matchup was not very good, but the 4 extra cards will go a long way. Let's not keep this on the play against Belcher. Let's keep this on the play against Belcher, putting back the push, I guess. Ashiok better than Sheoldred. I don't think that Ashiok is good against them. Sheoldred is like still combo with Necro, a good pressure on them. They do have a little bit of card draw with Tamashi. I don't think that either are very good. I don't think like 3 mana to like Necrodominance Whir of Invention, especially when they can like Whir of Invention in response a big chunk of the time. Maybe like if you have a turn 3 exactly on the play, they can't. But if any other turn, they can just Whir in response. It just seems like a card I don't want to have in my deck. And at least like Sheoldred is a card that like attacks and blocks and pressures their life total and combos with Necro still. Ashiok just does one thing and doesn't do it very well. On the play is always better. Yeah, I said it can be if you're turn 3 on the play, it can stop your Whirs, but you have to have it in the hand already, and you have to okay, so let's fetch so we can flip the Cecil. You have to have it in your hand already, which sucks, and you have to resolve it. And if you draw it a turn after that, or if there's something else you wanted to do, it's like it's worse. How's the 1 cling? Seems like a smart. I mean, 1 cling is pretty mandatory in like all these decks. I try to always play it. I just try to always play it. Okay, so we got to put it down to 11. If I draw black card off the Frog and the draw for turn, that would be great. you can fetch with Cecil trigger on the stack. That's good to know. I guess you're trying to play around snapback. I like surveilling first so that I can see what I want to discard with the frog. I think that's pretty important too. All right, they grab a Disrupting Shoal. Do just draw a land. Don't think that I'm going to be discarding 3 cards to fly the frog because I want to cast the Sheoldred. It's not the easiest for them to shoal a 4-drop either. Okay, so if I discard these 2, then I hit them for 4. I hit them for 4 down to 7. And then if I draw a black card off the frog, I can kill them if they play an untap land. I can kill them if they play an untap land with the Soul Spike, which is pretty important so I don't lose to Whir into Tamashii. Okay, I did just draw a land instead, so I guess this also works out because I just play the Sheoldred if I don't draw the black card. It's just like easier for them to shoal this, but then they do go down to 5, and then they also can't go untap land into Tamashii because they go down to 5, they go untap land down to 2, and the Tamashii kills them. So there shouldn't really be any way for them to get out of that. Okay, so we're going to game 3 on the draw. The 4th push could be good on the draw potentially. I could see maybe the Rite of Consumption plan not being right on the draw so much, where it does take maybe too many turns to set up. Also, is really weak to counter magic. Maybe it just should have been out the whole time. In a different deck, once I drew a Straight Wraith off Frog with Cecil trigger on the stack and cycled Wraith to flip Cecil. That's pretty cool. I definitely missed playing Cecil. Male with Cheater, Confidant, Last Chance is so busted. Yeah, but then there's also like a lot of really busted fights that like you kind of need to compete. I definitely still felt that like Expedition 33 moment up until the very end, where I just am continuing to like have to figure out builds to adapt to boss fights. Okay, Molded 5, congrats Bossum on becoming a mod. Molded 5, we don't have a green source, so I guess we're putting back these 2. Not a bad 5-card hand. My opponent does keep 7 though. I do want to lead on the Cecil, I think. They've got 1 Lotus Bloom, 2 Lotus Bloom. So Replicated Consign could maybe get both of those. I might actually flip my attitude here in Thoughtseize. Since they have double Lotus Bloom, there's like a kind of a reasonable chance they are low on lands. Although they do have 2 more lands in their hand. So I guess it would have been better if I had stuck to my original plan of playing the Cecil. But I don't know, when they double bloom, it's like it's not that easy for them to have 2 more lands in their hand. And if we just take 1 and then replicate the Consign, to me that seems like a pretty good plan. No, they hit Flusterstorm. Don't take it. Take Seagate. Take Seagate. Okay, thank goodness they took Seagate Restoration. And then they suspend a 3rd Lotus Bloom. Okay, so I'm gonna Fatal Push end of turn. I think actually maybe I should be saving this for Tamashii, because now they will have a bloom that comes down. They had a Seagate, Jirari Disruption. Yeah, I should just be saving the push. Maybe I get punished if I draw Necro. I guess I also get punished for not I get punished for not fetching last turn, although I'm only gonna replicate X equals 1 to play around the Jirari Disruption. And so I don't think they're gonna Disruption back, and then I should be able to get a Surveil. Or it might be better to save this for Revolt for push though. I think it's, although I guess also no, I don't have to fetch another time. Okay, so this trigger resolves. And then we're going to, oh, sorry. I forgot that when this gets peeled down, I can't consign both cast. I can only consign 1 cast. So actually, I think I just save Consign for Belcher then, because I just am not going to be able to stop them from having millions of mana. I guess they could cash in for a Seagate restoration. Yeah, but I was thinking that I could consign and stop both of them from being cast, but that's not. Okay, so it does seem like saving this for. So I have a push for Tamashi and I have a consign for Belcher. I've got some pressure in play. Kind of a funny draw. So do I consign this Lotus Bloom? It does make their Seagate restoration better. I think I should just sit back on these. Inside the Memory is a card that can counter the ability, allowing a player to cast a spin card effectively straining exile, so you could have countered both. You misunderstand. I know that you can consign the casting of the Lotus Bloom. I understand that, and that's what my plan was. However, once the last suspend counter is pulled off suspend, once the last one is pulled off, that one is immediately cast. The next one still has the suspend counter on it. I can't counter the cast of both at the same time because they aren't happening at the same time. So that's why I pivoted and decided to hold the consigns for the Belcher because I couldn't stop both Lotus Blooms. Yeah, I guess countering the next bloom might have been right to stop Whir for Belcher. Shout out Ashiok. That was the only card we knew about. The Talk with the 5 months. Thank you. Welcome back. I missed that they found the 4th Lotus. Wait, another Gerard Disruption tapped, and then they pass, which is very word coded. Can't beat a worm. Whites. Why are they tapping only white mana? Just to make me think they don't have Whir for a second? Just we can't consign the Belcher activation. I feel like at least one it's only triggered abilities. Kind of a bummer. Lost to Boros because they top decked the Purge. Lost to Belcher because they were on Whir instead of Tamashi or Belcher. Is what it is. Yeah, probably just auto tapping. My build's a little bit different from Mr. Series and the people who have been doing well with it, but I'm excited to. I do think that I really underrated the new cards. I'm not playing the 3-mana enchantment that draws you cards. I'm playing Gearhulk instead, but besides that, it's kind of similar to the list that I've been running around. Is Cosmogoyf a pipe dream in Modern? So, my dear sweet chatters, I would love to encourage you to stop thinking about cards in the terms of meme or broken. I think that for the most part, when we're talking about cards in Modern, the way chatters talk about them, it's like they think a card is either busted or they think that it is not good at all. And Cosmogoyf has been a really powerful card. It's been a gigantic 2-mana creature that's really unique and really special, and it goes in archetypes that aren't like super tier 1 at the moment. And so it's really important that we spend the time to I think I'm going to cycle the Cling to Dust, although it could be better to try to play around Goryo's. Where was I going with this? It's like a big part of what we do on this channel is we try to maximize the potential of cards. We try to find the best shell for them. We try to explore what you can do with them. We try to see how good a deck you can build with a card. And then once we understand that, we can fully evaluate it. And then once we've done that, we can circle back to the ideas once we have those best shells, if that makes sense. Like, Goyf is a powerful card. It might not end up being tier 1. There's a lot of really, really good cards in this new set. But there's also a pretty good chance that one day they just print another card that's good with Goyf or similar to Goyf or powers up the archetype in general. And we'll already have these lists ready to go. Okay, so if they pop the relic, they're going to go down to, or up to 5 cards in exile. Now 6. Is not quite online. Yeah, I totally didn't even like recognize Gene Pollinator as maybe a playable modern card. Okay, so wise of them to play around Soul Spike. Oh wait, I miscounted. Oh, sorry. Of course, Ketchumos counts other things in exile. Duh. All right, so we've got them down to 6, and then they're going to be going back up to 10. Not drawing a land for the Sheoldred is very tough. Yeah, but like I think just having the extra just having extra artifact creatures and scales is really good. Body bag with 17 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Okay, so if I soul spike them down to 6, then they go down to 4, and they could die to my Graveyard Glutton. We want to leave the Sheoldred in the hand so the Glutton can target it, I guess. They do have a blocker. And we draw a Necro. I guess I should have attacked first. I do think we're going to be YOLOing 13 cards, trying to find a Soul Spike. If their last 2 cards are Solitude white cards, so be it. Maybe we'll find 2 Soul Spikes. What the heck? It's not here. The next card? Ah, it's not letting me. Saving me for myself. Okay, so let's bring in the Deluges. Definitely want to keep in the right. Do you think Trespasser's not that good against them? I think it's just, yeah, Delusion for Trespassers. Yeah, lucky 13 defeated this time. I'm not sure how unlucky I was to not find it, so I don't know how much I can complain. Alright, let's keep this on the play, of course. How about, is what Cosmogoyf does worth the shell required to make it good? I think we could have phrased this a little bit better. I would answer to that question is ambiguous. Are there shells in which you can make a huge creature and be competitive meta? Yes. Is that huge creature good? Not all the time. That's my read. I mean, no card is good all the time, but yes, a card that could be a 2 mana 2020 is pretty good. I don't know. I think there certainly can be a lot of overthinking and over like I don't know how to exactly articulate what this comment is, but every card in Modern is not good all the time. With it, like there have been very few exceptions to the rule of a card being good literally all the time. This was one thing about Up the Beanstalk, was that was a card that literally was good every single time. There was not really like situations where you could draw the card Up the Beanstalk and it wasn't like a super powerful thing to have. I think I'm just kind of in here. I'm trying to think. I feel like there was another card. Like Naughty was a card that was never bad when you drew it. The thing is, the ring, because it was 4 mana, was bad sometimes. Like if you have 2 copies in your opening hand, if you're up against a Force of Negation deck, like just the nature of being 4 mana cards, like it is just going to be bad sometimes, and it's going to be bad in some quantities. Attack first. Yeah, K-Command. K-Command is another card that is never bad. It's just, or like almost never bad when you draw it. It's so hard for that card to not be insane. Oko, yeah, Oko maybe I think fits this category. They top deck Psychic Frog, which is pretty good. Yeah, Astrolabe was kind of like that too. It's very hard to be good against Astrolabe. And so it like this list of cards that are good in every situation is very small. So to say that like the problem with Cosmogoyf is a big creature is not always good, it doesn't really mean a lot to me, I guess. I do think that we are pretty cooked unless we draw our land. If we do draw our land, we're in okay shape. I guess. I guess we attack first. Okay, this was a pretty good attack. Make him discard the frog. Alright. Glad we took the time to not be lazy and attack first. So they've got one card in their hand, drawing up to 2. Yeah, Amulet is never bad too. But we don't need to Amulet today. Okay, their 2 cards are Psychic Frog, Thoughtseize. That's a pretty good 2 cards. Let's draw a Necro. Guess just a Fatal Push would have been good too. I'm down to 10. They've got 2 cards. Don't have a spell they're playing right now. We do draw the Necro now. Draw 9. Don't Bowmaster me. I could draw 8 so that I could draw Fatal Push and then Sheoldred. Yeah, let's draw 8 so Sheoldred's kind of online again. Okay, should have drawn 9. Damn it. No! I should have drawn 9! Although if I draw 9, I am in like kind of awkward shape, right? Where I just, like, I'm at 1 life and I can't get anything going, really. You go to 1, you could also bank on drawing a frog. Yeah. Get a little unlucky, not drawing the 4th land both games there. Well, our luck will turn around any moment. The Graveyard of Static Prison, after some thought. Let's keep land number 3. Land number 3 is a combo with our Necro. Taps a white. Untap. Taps a white. Ocelot Pride. Untapped Arena of Glory. Passes. I kind of like get the vibe maybe that my opponent's plan here is to block and then Galvanic Discharge, so I think we just push first. So let's discard Soul Spike and then Overgrown Tomb. We can get our Goyf up to 6-7 if we also end up discarding the Fatal Push. Or whatever we draw off the frog. What did you think of the Warp O-Ring creature to play? I didn't like it. I thought I would like it. Like the 2-mana scammers just in general I don't think play very well. We did draw Cecil so we could pay more life. I think playing around random main deck Moon and also maybe I don't want to pay more life is better. I thought that creature would play better than it ended up playing. I was just not very impressed with it overall. We're gonna play the Bant list that we played yesterday in the last chance. It was really performing quite well for us yesterday, I think. Okay, they have a Flage plus Arena of Glory. Okay, so thankfully I drew this Graveyard Trespasser. Let me fly the frog. I don't really feel like I'm gonna need to make the Goyf bigger, but I guess if they don't chump block it, we probably will. They do chump block. And then we have them down to 12. We draw another card. Luck certainly swinging back our way. Still the best creature in Modern. Wait, why are there 3? Are there 2 Graveyard Gluttons? Weird. Let's see, crime punishment be good one of on the sideboard too. Maybe, yeah. Kind of like the green black Wrath Disguise. I don't know if it's better than Fade or Culling Ritual, or if you could do like a 1/1/1 split. They just pass. They flip my Graveyard Glutton, or flip into a Graveyard Glutton. We fly the Frog, which turns the Goyf into 6/7. I think I'm discarding the Overgrown Tomb to target with the Glutton, since I get to target two things. Pretty minor, though. Oh yeah, does Cecil have three? Cecil does have three sides. I guess we all have three sides to us. They discard a Flage. Well, let me Fatal Push this Elemental token and see if you have a Galvanic Discharge. They do have a Galvanic Discharge, but they're targeting my Frog instead. I don't know. I don't know if that's right. I don't know if it's wrong. I just know that they're probably dead. They are going to get to block the Glutton with the Spyro to kill it. So I'm going to target my own Frog. I'm going to target the Flage. Are they? I think they're just dead, right? They're at 10. Oh no, they go to 1. They block here, then they go to 1. Oh, they chumped the Goyf instead. Okay. I would have thought that they would. I prefer to trade with the Glutton and go to 1, but I guess being out 1 is tough. Or did I just totally miscount? No, I did miscount. I did have lethal. I don't know where I missed the points. I thought I counted 2 from the Glutton. Maybe I only counted 1 from the Glutton. How has Goyf been? Look in front of you. I just killed my opponent with it. I think it's been pretty good. I don't think I could bring in a Nature's Claim, and like this is a way we could like hold up a green and then claim a Blood Moon, hit a Fable, yeah, maybe both Nature's Claims are good. Also, claiming your own Necro ends up being kind of good sometimes. That's why we're playing it over some other options. Grew the Goyf. I thought I counted that, but I definitely missed 1 point somewhere. I thought I counted the growing the Goyf. I think force on the draw. I think you want. I think you don't want it on the play. Is my current thinking. Maybe we don't want the right of consumption. Probably true. Honestly, I have not loved March against Boros. You would think you would like it. It's so bad against Goblin Bombardment, though. 1 point you missed was the drain. I guess so. I know I missed a point somewhere. I think I probably only counted the Glutton as 1, even though I knew it was 2. My Frog died, which I didn't expect, and then you exiled it too. Well, my Frog didn't die; it was blocked. Oh, no, sorry, it did die. Sorry, my Goyf was blocked. I'm all turned around. I guess we'll just keep it going. I guess I'll keep Deluge on the draw into Necro. I'd feel a lot more comfortable if we were on the play, but you know, sometimes you're on the draw. Sometimes they have a Ragavan and you draw Fatal Push. Oops, all 3 drops. Oh, you know what? I guess I was thinking that I'd be pretty happy to play the Tomb tapped, but they can just turn 2 Blood Moon me now. They flip over a Cosmogoyf. Does grow future Cosmogoyfs. And they play a Bombardment. Then they pass. We draw a pretty good one. They didn't have Blood Moon last turn, which is good. Culling Ritual too slow. Oh, sorry, I meant to board in the Culling Ritual. Sorry about that. Obviously, yeah, you do want it in this matchup, of course. Too many cards boarded then. Okay, 1 damage to my Frog. No need to respawn now. So they make this, and then they'll deal 2 more damage. I discard 1, 2, and then if they sack both their creatures, I discard 2 more. I guess the problem is maybe more so that like I can't block the Ragavan without setting myself up to a position where I can't play the Necro, but that might be okay too. I might still just block the Ragavan. But now this has 3 damage on it. I mean, if they have Galvanic Discharge, we're gonna probably lose. They play a land. They do have now their options for what they can follow up with really explodes. Probably concede to a Johnny #2. I don't think we concede to that. Although it is quite bad. For the Bant Ritual deck, do you think of Orvar the All-Form and some quantity in the sideboard? Subtlety feels mid, and Orvar has a lot of appreciable text. Okay, well, we're main decking for Subtlety, so it's not like we would cut them from the sideboard. To say Subtlety feels mid, I think, is also probably a misevaluation of the format. I think Subtlety is probably at like a year-long high. It's very good against Blink. It's very good against Gorios. It's very good against the Neoform deck. It's very good against Titan, which is like a popular deck. It's like, I think, even more solid against Boros in the Bant build because you have so much card advantage that it's really important to have it. Drawing like 7 here. Obviously need to find a Soul Spike or die. I think 7's a good number. What was I saying? So yeah, for me, like I'm super duper high on Subtlety. I think your quality as a Necro player is how good are you at drawing that Soul Spike on the first Necro trigger. I'm not very good at it today. Let's go to game 3. I think on the play we can cut the Force of Despair. Click the submit button. But yeah, like also like the thought of like Orvar is good in the deck because you can cast it. I don't like very much. I know that there's like a Archon of Cruelty Grixis Reanimator deck, and Orvar is good against that, but I don't think that's big enough range even. Yeah, we'll keep the Necro. Already have the Soul Spike this time. But yeah, I think Subtlety's at like at least a year-long high. I can't remember the last time Subtlety's been this good. I've been playing some Sultai Frog, Goyf Shenanigans, and Timeless. I've been using 0 Point Ballad and Sideboard for Boros. I found Flex. So I talked about this in my YouTube video. I agree that 0 Point Ballad is specifically better than Toxic Deluge against Boros. I agree with that. That's something I said in the video. And I think that's interesting. The thing is, 0 Point Ballad is not better against Affinity, which is now a very popular deck, and it even seemed like last week it was definitely more popular than Boros. It's, you know, kind of a new toy, so you can kind of expect it to be more popular for a little bit. I guess maybe fetching was bad because I would have not minded drawing the last swamp. So yeah, like while I agree, like if we 0 Point Balladed here, it's like exactly the same, but we could like theoretically have X equals 1. The fact that Affinity is so new and popular and good, I think you just kind of have to. I think you just kind of have to play Deluge instead. Kills Kappa Cannoneer. Is Living In good right now? Yeah, Living In has been good for a little bit. Actually, like now that like Violent Outburst is gone, and Grief is gone, I would say I really enjoy playing against Living In now. It feels like games are like fair and interesting instead of you go, okay, I mulliganed, I have 2 sideboard cards, and one gets griefed and one gets Force of Negation. Yeah, maybe I should have just gone fetch swamp. Not sure, but you can just play a Sheoldred. So they have the Galvanic Discharge that does eat up all their energy. Hopefully they play Flage this turn. What are your thoughts on the best Affinity build? Emery, Tez Weapons. The Tez Weapons for me has been the best by a pretty big amount. Alright, I think we're 2 Blood Moon to play around Flage. 80 merit to holding Deluge and playing out Necro. I mean, typically you want to play your sweeper before the Necro. Blood Moon is the consideration. I think that if we had just gone swamp, we could have played around it pretty comfortably. The Surveil land is always tempting. But yeah, there's some merit for sure. I'd love to draw a black card that last turn. They've got 3 cards over there. All right, we could rip a Swamp, Graveyard Trespasser, Cling to Dust, or concede. We do have 3 more Graveyard Trespassers. Alright, let's play some scales, I guess. I don't know. Definitely was liking this deck a bit more earlier. I think we were running a little bit unlucky, but that's okay. We can move on. Okay, so Hardened Scales with a lot of new cards here. One thing, I don't think Gene Pollinator is crazy, but I do think this deck is pretty mana hungry.